All right, welcome back to the Mentored Engineer. In this video, we are going to speculate about the future of IoT. Okay, so Clay, we're here again. We're going to talk about the future of IoT, and it's kind of interesting to see where IoT has come from. 5 years ago, it really wasn't something that the public knew about, and just want to see where we are as an industry and where we're going. So, can you shed some light on that?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's really like almost a rabbit hole because there's a million different applications and things you can think of that IoT would work with. I know a neat one that I think of that's kind of on the horizon and has even began to some extent is smart cities. You think of the things that a city has to deal with, monitoring, trash cans, street lights, traffic lights. There's a whole number of things, traffic crossings, foot traffic. They can use to monitor and collect data, send people out to make changes. Right now in IoT, we're kind of touching the edge of remote controls, being able to control and set automation on devices. I think that's coming down the pipeline. Right now, we're kind of in the bread and butter of the monitoring stage where we're taking data, collecting it, and making decisions off of that. Like I said, right now, kind of on the early end of the IoT curve, I think the market is just going to explode from here. I think it's only going to move up from here. So there's a number of different things. Really, it boils down to just a few simple questions. Do you have something that you want to monitor, and do you have a way of monitoring that? If you can answer yes to those, then you can have an IoT device designed or made to fit your application there.
Okay. So I recently read that in 2019, IoT was estimated to be like a $61 billion market. Do you think that's going to grow in 2020?
Yeah, absolutely. I know there's a projection in the next few years for it to grow. I believe it's by 2023 to a $90 billion market. And what we're seeing now is, especially with Sealevel, we work more on the industrial side of things with the IIoT, industrial Internet of Things devices. Consumer devices are becoming more popular, and ours are even used in some semi-consumer type applications. So as that grows, as you get more smart homes, more smart devices, more capable sensors, I only see that going up from there, as well as the cellular connection as it continues to improve.
So how big of a percentage do you think the consumer market will grow compared to the industrial?
It's tough to say. I think they'll both grow probably about the same rate. We've seen some things, especially like Amazon and the Google Smart Home type devices that have really taken off in popularity. In industrial, I'd almost argue that it's going to grow more because there's been almost a hesitation from some people in the industry to adopt IoT, either from ignorance onto how it works, concern for security, or maybe they just don't know what they need to do or where to start. But I think we really are starting to see the edge where everybody's realizing, hey, this is valuable, we can use this, let's make it happen.
All right. So what are some new breakthroughs that you see coming out technologically with IoT in the next few years?
Yeah, so for us specifically at Sealevel, it's going to be edge computing, having a device that's got some computing capabilities on the edge. So it's almost a hybrid of an IoT computer on the end that you can program to do certain things, behave certain ways if then scenarios come up. It's kind of like the next level, next generation of our IoT devices. Like I said, I just foresee expansion into new markets, new designs. From here, our device has what I call a relatively small footprint for I/O, for your inputs and outputs. I definitely see that growing as well. So let's say instead of you need 2 analog inputs, let's say you need 20. We could definitely make that happen for you.
All right. So I have a background in electrical power transmission, and I know that they're always worried about leakage in the power distribution system, and a lot of that leakage comes from the towers, where a line will arc over to the tower itself, bypassing the little ceramic discs that they have that separate them. So right now the solution is to have crews go around with infrared cameras and look for leakage on each individual towers. Do you think that is a future of IoT, to either inspect that directly with video, or to some other mechanism to do that?
Absolutely. Yeah, I see that as being a definite IoT application. Let's say you have an IoT gateway that's the parent cellular device, and you have a few sensors per pole or however many you may need, you can use that to monitor either visually or maybe through a different type of sensor to tell if there's any arcage between your wires, and then send alerts back to your cloud. And even, like our device can send texts or emails, send text to whoever it needs to go to, say, hey, go check pole XYZ, go check it out, make sure things are okay. So that's definitely an application I foresee. I know currently there are people working with what they call smart meters. So you have a meter that's, let's say your water meter on your house, instead of somebody driving around to each house and saying, okay, they've used X number of gallons this month, and they jot it down, then they go to the next house and the next house. It's all managed through a cloud system where they either can ride by and collect the data as they ride by, or they can have it sent cellularly to a cloud system where they can monitor it in real time even if they want to.
Now I imagine that gets kind of expensive because there's a lot of water meters.
Yeah, absolutely.
And cell phone, what, $15-20 a month?
Yeah, anywhere from $5, $15, $20 a month. The cost can add up. So, like I said, we're still on the edge of the curve, the beginning of the curve for IoT technology. But even some places will have like one neighborhood on one cellular connection with multiple sensors running from that one gateway. So there are ways around it. You don't have to put a gateway cellular connection on each device. You can connect them if they're in relative close location to each other.
Okay. What other new applications do you foresee?
So right now, we do a lot in wastewater management. Temperature monitoring is a big one, and we do a little bit monitoring of signs as well. That's some of the big ones. There's probably a good 10, 15 other applications. One of my favorites that's kind of a fun one is a mobile hog trap for feral hogs. A gentleman uses our digital controls for. But even going from there, people can use it in farming. We've seen it started being used in greenhouses for different humidity and temperature monitoring applications. You can see it used in power distribution systems. Like I said, if you can think of anything, from a hydroelectric dam to electric vehicle bus driving down the road, you could probably figure out an IoT system that would work and provide useful data or controls back to the end user.
All you young engineers, this is probably a field that you need to at least consider getting into. It's a great time to be part of it. It's going to be a technology that's around and steady for a long time. So how hard is it for anyone first to get into IoT?
Yeah, absolutely. So IoT is sort of, I guess what I would call new engineering, but it uses a lot of principles that are related to tried and true engineering type applications. Here at Sealevel, we have full-time engineers, multiple full-time engineers that only work on our IoT products. The jobs are there, the jobs are going to be there, they're going to come. A lot of web development on the cloud side, and there's also hardware engineers, electrical engineers that actually design the physical hardware with our devices. So it's kind of two-faceted. Most people choose one or the other, but there are opportunities where you could do both. You could be software and a hardware type engineer in these type of applications. But like I said, growing market is something you may get into, may fall into. Definitely research it more because it's just a neat type application.
Okay. As far as what a engineer should study in college or go back to, maybe getting a master's, is there anything you would recommend?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you're on more of the software side of things, you'd look more towards code, web development type systems, because you understand the cloud is where the data is stored. That's where it becomes customer facing. So it's almost a web design type application. So the computer engineering, things like that are more geared towards what you'd want there. Whereas the hardware is very, very similar to any other type of electrical hardware that we work with here at Sealevel. The only difference is the interface, the way it connects to the cloud is a cellular connection as opposed to being, let's say, a USB or Ethernet cable.
Okay. So with IoT, you can see that there's a lot of engineering disciplines that come together. You have electrical that will design hardware. You got computer, not only just computer engineering with the hardware again, but also with the software, and there's graphics. You're also going to have mechanical engineering, bringing it all to a nice little box that's IP rated and stuff like that. Do you see any other benefits of or areas of expertise that it will need to have?
Yeah, and that's some of the beauty of IoT. It's a big overlap of several different styles of engineering or areas of focus. But one that's mostly unique to IoT and then cell phones, obviously, is cellular connectivity. I believe having a strong understanding of how cellular connectivity works barriers to that. Something that you can definitely dig into, study more, maybe have as an area of focus if your schooling offers that. That definitely give you a leg up on other individuals that maybe want to get into the IoT market.
All right. Well, that concludes our time here with Clay. We thank you for all the time that you spent with us talking about the IoT, and we hope that this gives you a solid foundation for hopefully pursuing a career in the IoT. Thank you for watching The Mentored Engineer. Thank you for watching this video. Please visit us at www.mentoredengineer.com so that you can stay abreast of the newest happenings in mechanical engineering. And we ask that you subscribe so that you can always be up to date.